Hey folks, so in today's episode of the Good Life Approach podcast, I am talking about what pain taught me and finding my way out both physically and emotionally. But before we dive in, as always, I invite you to be curious about yourself, your life, and the world that we live in. And today the energy is a bit different, and I have given myself permission to actually be vulnerable. I'm here with a cool patch at the back of my neck. I have a heat patch on my back. I'm in an interesting energy where I feel like I want to speak about this because quite a few of you might relate. And I think today's topic of pain, bear with me here. We all go through pain in our lifetime, whether that's emotional pain, whether it's physical pain. I'm sure you've been through both. Sometimes a lot of it together, and sometimes it's intermittent because of something, a relationship breakdown, something that happens to you, an accident. And so, well, for me, my physical pain came from a car accident over 17 or 18 months ago, and it's something that I've definitely struggled with. I struggled with different elements because it started off as a whiplash, as something that I thought was just okay, this will transcend, it'll pass, it'll settle after a couple of weeks. But then months and months in, and rehab and natural supplements and many, over 100 appointments later, natural stuff, spas, heat patches, gym, recovery, so many different medications. When the reality I think hit in that it actually wasn't working, I was afraid because the impact that I had was at the occipital nerve. I haven't had a pain-free day or a day without headaches since the accident, which is quite significant, quite draining on the physical body, but also emotionally, oh my god, yeah, it has taken a toll. At times I have wore masks, and because I am very aware of our intentional design and how we manifest and the energy of being who we are and what we're attracting and what we're focusing on, I haven't really spoken about this not because I was ignoring it, but because I was intentionally choosing to see the elevated me, to see the pain-free me. However, having said that, in a contrast, where I'm at now is, and I think today in particular, I've had a few days of changing medications, of meeting a consultant, a pain specialist that for the first time in a long time actually knew what they were talking about, actually knew what was wrong with me, knew all the symptoms and stuff that I was describing, which had been dismissed by quite a few people as that shouldn't be. You should get on with that. Suck it up. You're not how you say you are. Your body's not experiencing what you say you're experiencing. And no matter how strong-willed or opinionated or how aware you are of your body, folks, when you have that repeated over and over and over and over again, even a small percentage of that can seep in, and you can then start doubting yourself and start questioning yourself and start asking yourself, well, actually, is that how I feel? Is that real? How can it be so severe if scans aren't showing up major things, if it's only showing up incremental? Why am I experiencing all these things that I'm experiencing? Like, I was told it's only in your head, it's not real. But actually meeting this person the other day was such a relief of something that I had known all this time. But such a relief for somebody in the know and the speciality and the expertise to actually say, yes, Donna, this is common. Yes, you're not imagining it. It's not phantom things. This is often experienced by so many people that have had this event happen. And so I suppose, where am I going with this? The pain journey, physically and emotionally, led me further on that intentional design, further on that journey, further on that desire to firstly accept who I am, to not apologize for feeling pain or not wanting to speak about it, or not apologizing for having to have downtime, not having to apologize for not being at a capacity to do certain things that I was able to do before. So many emotions, especially with 3 kids. Like, especially when one day you're okay and the next in something that's seemingly not that significant to the outer experience, actually inside just, it tears you apart bit by bit. I think that's the only way I can experience this, because it's that layer by layer by layer by layer of, okay, you're really sore too, it's faded too, you still have pain and numbness and sensations and heightened, and trying to find words to articulate this to so many different people to try and express that. There's so many reports done and so much, and because it's car accidents, so much bloody stuff. And in my human design, and one of my gifts, I'm deeply contemplative. I go down the rabbit hole of questioning, of being curious. This is exactly what this podcast is about. It's about inviting you to be curious about yourself, your life, and the world that we live in. And that's exactly what this experience has gifted me. To be even more curious than I've ever been before. To be curious about my ideas, my beliefs, how strong I am at my core, as in, am I willing to be authentic? Am I willing to not apologize, to be truthful about what I'm experiencing, to be vulnerable and truthful about what I need in the moment, what I need from my husband, what I need from my kids, what I need from people in business, or taking out the expectations, asking for help, giving yourself permission to be okay with your capacity, and having that vision to work, I don't know, to work toward a capacity that you want to be at, to hold that vision and work toward it. And I'm sitting here, even as I'm recording this, going, Jesus, will I even post this? Will I even put this up? Is this even making sense? Is it going to make sense to anybody? Who's going to give a shit about this? Like, what? But I think about it, and I've went deeper into Jenna Zoe's human design. As a result, I was guided to this. I'm always asking the question. I'm always curious. I'm always guided for when things show up, when things are prolonged, when you're in that flow or that messy middle, as I talked about in the last episode. And my gift 6 out of the human design, it says, it requires a total acceptance of who you are so that you're transmitting the message of being totally comfortable in your own skin and your own real essence. And if I take that on board as one of my gifts, and that's part of my DNA or part of my timeline in astrology and what I was born into and what I came here to shine a light on, yeah, this experience has it has absolutely got me to ask myself, take that look in the mirror and ask myself, do I accept all of me? Do I accept the vulnerable parts? Do I accept the frustrated or the angry parts? Do I accept the parts that are showing up as pain? Do I allow myself, give myself permission to not ignore the feelings, but welcome them in and convert them from a fear to a love? Do I allow myself to be all of me and to share what I need in the moment without having to feel like I need to apologize for it? Do I continue to hold my vision regardless of the pain showing up, regardless of the external outer world? When I think about the title of what has pain taught me, emotionally, physically, it's taught me that I am stronger than I thought I was, both physically and emotionally. I knew I was emotionally strong after the house case in Ireland. It's still gone on over 5 years later. I've always known I've been resilient over everything. But I've never had this extreme of physical pain consistent, which has floored me many a time. But that has taught me that my physical body is resilient and that our mindset, the power of our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, our reactions, our responses, the energy we choose to hold, only for the daily resets, only for every day consistently doing this work, checking in with myself, asking myself, am I okay? Doing my mirror work, doing my visualizations, doing a quiet meditation, being out in nature, doing grounding, having large roars, having intense release cries, giving myself permission on a daily basis to actually just check in and say, Donna, what the hell do you need right now? Just what is gonna just get you through the day? What is going to get you to do the school run? What is going to support you to do a dinner? What is going to support you with your business? What is going to support you as a generator to be inspired and not to be flat? Because I felt like I was stuck, like I was in this this frustration of Groundhog Day, of pain, of ongoing stuff, of ongoing appointments for me and the kids, for ongoing, never ending just circuit. And what that has taught me is that having tools, having basic, not overcomplicated thing, but going bloody back to basics. There's a lot to be said for it. That's what it's taught me. Stop going for all the high, convoluted, in-depth, crazy, complicated things. If that's what you feel you need, great. But I think the one thing that's really coming strongly to mind is going back to basics. What pain has taught me is going back to basics. Become aware of your body. Become aware of whether it's physical pain, where it is, where it's showing up. Become aware of the dialogue, of the language that you use. Become aware of that energy and that feeling that you have. Shift that energy as often as you can. That's what pain has taught me. Being okay to be vulnerable, having the courage to think outside the box and try new things. I've contacted so many people, so many energy healings, release things, spa stuff, hands-on, oh my god, medications, herbal and over the counter, just anything to relieve it. And if you've been in pain and experienced pain emotionally and physically, you know that you will do whatever it takes to just get that release and just relieve yourself. So wrapping up, and I hope that this makes sense to you, because as always, or whatever you hear in this, take whatever you need from it and leave the rest. Just take what you need and leave the rest. But I think just if anything from this is ask yourself the question, what is showing up for you both emotionally in pain and physically in pain? Because when we store things in the body, when we ignore, when we stuff it down, it comes into dis-ease, disharmony, disintegration of the physical body. That's your emotional stuff and your physical stuff. And I know only too well, this is why I refuse to stuff down. This is why I do release cries. This is why I release my energy through counting. It's why I use this as part of my day. And I think if I hadn't, I definitely I wouldn't be I definitely wouldn't be in this space. And that's me sharing from a place of honesty for me anyway. So yeah, look, as always, the purpose of this podcast is to inspire you to get curious, to think outside the box, to ask yourself the question, so what do you need to take from this? This is what pain taught me. You can release it, but you have to surrender and it. Give yourself love, move from fear or love. There's only the two. And if you know somebody else that's in a world of pain, both physically or emotionally, then share this podcast with them. This is the purpose of this. It is to share my insights, because one thing I know for sure is that when we share our story, we give other people permission to do the same, and then we realize that we're not alone. We realize that other people are going through similar experiences. And when I hear other people, that definitely makes life so much easier for me. So I'm Donna Martin, The Good Life Approach. I hope that you find this useful. Thank you for listening.